2 ways narcissists react when you get silent, and it's so disgusting. Ever wondered why narcissists throw a fit when you go silent on them? Do they miss your presence, or does your absence split their mind entirely? Let's dive into it in this episode. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in once again. Today, we're delving into 2 common reactions narcissists exhibit when faced with your silence. If you're intrigued, be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay updated on discussions about narcissistic abuse. 1. They panic and fret. Why? Because being ignored is their worst nightmare. Narcissists thrive on attention. They crave to know your every thought and emotion, basking in the limelight of your constant focus. When you withhold any reaction and maintain silence, you become an enigma, and unpredictability unsettles them. They're accustomed to being in control, so when communication ceases or their supply dwindles, they spiral into a frenzy. They resort to relentless tactics, calling your contacts, surveilling your online presence, even hacking your devices to gauge your whereabouts and activities. Their obsession stems from a fear of being replaced. The mere thought of you moving on signifies their failure, plunging them into a state of profound insecurity. So, what's their next move? They erupt in anger and hostility, letting it bubble to the surface, seeking retribution. But when they come back, they don't show their cards outright. Instead, they feign remorse or a desire to reconcile, luring you back into their grasp. However, if you take the bait, brace yourself for torment of the highest order. For narcissists, silence is akin to facing their deepest fears, loss of control. They recoil from solitude, unable to endure even an hour without a host to latch onto. And in this scenario, you're their chosen host. Reclaiming your power comes when you demand their silence. But the setting is crucial. Your silence speaks volumes when you're not financially dependent on them, have no children together, and don't need daily interaction. This silence, wielded strategically, is your ultimate weapon against them. However, if you're entangled with a narcissist on a daily basis, silence may be misinterpreted as weakness. In such cases, alternative strategies must be sought to navigate the tumultuous waters of dealing with them. 2. They interpret your silence as a sign of weakness or compliance. What does this entail? It means they'll continue to test your boundaries, probing for vulnerabilities to exploit and gauging how much they can harm you. Initially, they might start with minor provocations to assess your response, whether you'll push back or establish boundaries. If you don't, they'll perceive you as too feeble to resist their mistreatment, assuming you're complicit. That's why it's crucial to assert yourself, challenge their misconceptions, and stand resolute. However, it's not about engaging in futile arguments or attempting to reason with them. That's akin to wrestling with pigs, fruitless and messy. Instead, you must be unequivocal and assertive, reminding them of the consequences if they persist in their behavior or refuse to acknowledge the truth. Consider a scenario where you share parenting duties with another individual. If they persist in testing your patience and boundaries, it's imperative to clearly outline the repercussions of their actions, whether legal penalties or otherwise. While navigating this territory can be challenging, it serves as an illustrative example. You must communicate unequivocally that such behavior is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Furthermore, if they persist despite your warnings, you must follow through with consequences, sending a clear message that their actions will not go unchecked. In essence, silence isn't always the most effective course of action. It hinges on the circumstances. It's essential to evaluate your situation, discern whether your silence is enabling further abuse, and take a stand if necessary. Sometimes, All it takes to stop a narcissist from hurting you is to speak the truth. Uttering a simple phrase like "I'm done with you" can be remarkably effective. It's a clear declaration that there's nothing left between you, that you no longer wish to be entangled with them. You trust that they'll handle this like mature adults. It's a test of their maturity and intelligence. If they fail to respond respectfully, it only confirms your decision. Essentially, you're subtly nudging them to take ownership of the situation, to follow through on what needs to be done. However, exercising caution is crucial here. This approach isn't advisable if there's a risk of it being turned against you in a legal setting. Narcissists detest being met with silence. But if they choose not to respond, it's a sign that they've discarded you, replaced you with someone else, and banished you from their thoughts. They don't long for your presence. Their focus is solely on what's in front of them at the moment. Like a predator fixated on its prey, everything else fades into obscurity. It's a network of tunnels, where the person you once knew becomes lost in the shadows. If you've chosen silence and wonder if it's having an impact, rest assured, it definitely is, and it's hitting them hard. Maintain your silence unless absolutely necessary to break it. If constant silence isn't feasible, aim for mostly quietude. Be selective about your battles. Only engage when essential. Repetition achieves little. Once you've made your point, embrace the silence anew. Silence speaks volumes, especially as you observe them falter. Offer a sprinkle of sweetness where they momentarily display positive behavior. That concludes the 2 reactions a narcissist exhibits in response to your silence. I'm curious to know which of these responses resonates with your experiences. Share your thoughts in the comments below. With that, we wrap up for today. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, let the journey of healing continue.